Rita here. Welcome to New Nail Tech Success, where I help you get started as a nail technician. So how y'all doing today? I hope you guys are doing as great as I am. So today I'm going to go ahead and show you the 3-ball method of applying acrylic. If you go to school, more than likely you'll be taught this way. And I think the 3-ball method is the best way for a beginner to get started applying acrylic. And then once you get more confident, try the 2-ball or 1-ball method if you want to. But everything starts with mastering the 3-ball method. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and first give you a couple of visuals to give you an idea of what you're going to do before you actually do it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to visualize your nail into 3 parts, which are called zones. Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3. This picture is actually a picture of a nail tip, of a nail with a tip, like so, like I've put here. So your Zone 1 would be your tip area. Your Zone 2 is the middle of the nail bed, and then your Zone 3 is the area near the skin, which people call the cuticle, but is actually the eponychium, the skin here. So those are your zones, your 3 areas of the nail that you're going to place your 3 balls of acrylic, which is the brown circles here. You're going to lay 1 ball in each zone. Tip, middle of the nail, and the eponychium area. Okay? Next visual I want to show you guys is your brush. When you're applying the acrylic, you primarily will be using the flags, which are the tips, the dark hairs of the brush if you're using a Kolinsky, and you'll be using the belly of the brush, which is the middle portion of your brush. But you will use any part of your brush you need to shape the acrylic the way you want it to be shaped. But primarily you'll be using the tip and the middle of the brush. Okay, so I have prepared a nail tip with the 3 zones marked off on it. This is a tip that has white acrylic on it, and I'm going to be using retention C&D retention liquid and purple acrylic that I made so that it would show up better on camera. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate the 3-ball method. I'm going to go ahead and get all the air bubbles out. This is called burping your brush. If you don't, those bubbles will show up in the acrylic. You guys, if you haven't watched how to find your acrylic ratio, it's very important that you know that before you apply acrylic, so that you'll have the right product consistency to build a good acrylic nail. Just hit that eye and that video will pop to the right so that you can watch it. Alright, so I have my first bead up. You're going to let it turn glossy like a pearl, and I'm just placing it in the first zone, and I am lightly patting it and stroking it across to cover the first zone. You want to make sure you're always cleaning off your brush. Always. Okay, and you're just patting using that belly. See, I'm using the belly. And I'm just smoothing it across. Just like that. I'm using the side of my brush so that the tip won't get misshapen. It will still have the same shape of the tip. Okay, and I'm just patting. When you put that first ball down, you want to make sure it is as smooth as you can get it, because the better you can shape the nail now, the less filing and shaping you'll have to do later on. And I'm just smoothing down using light feathery strokes. Now, at the top of your bead is a ridge. You must pat that ridge down so that it will blend, the next ball will blend into it. And when you are doing your acrylic, applying acrylic, look at your nail from side to side, down the front of it, to make sure it's forming the way you want it to, and that you're working neat. There should be no acrylic dripping underneath the nail. If so, that means your acrylic is too wet and you need to work on your product ratio. Okay, so that's the first ball. I like it. You guys, you don't have to be totally perfect with your zones, but you just want to make sure that you are covering the first zone, which is the nail tip. And you want to make sure as you're patting the acrylic across that you're patting it evenly, that it's pretty much straight across the whole part of the nail in that zone. Okay, so I'm wiping my brush off on my towel, going in and getting my second bead. Picking it up, waiting before it turns, waiting for it to turn glossy. And look, I don't like that. See how there's acrylic powder that didn't get wet? That means this ball is too dry. Do not use an ugly ball. Just swipe it off and do another one. Get another one. You're in control of the acrylic. You decide, when you're ready to work, how you want to work, and what have you. Okay, so there I go. I'm putting my second ball down in zone 2. And I'm just patting from side to side, swiping, going down, cleaning my brush off, turning the nail from side to side. I'm even getting some more monomer, so that I can continue to shape the acrylic. If you need to dip back in and get some more monomer, do it, so that you can keep working and shaping the acrylic the way you want to. I'm looking at it from the side. See how I'm using my brush to get that, off to the side, to get it parallel, to keep it. That's what you want to do, like a hockey player. You should be able to use your brush in any way you need to, like a hockey player uses their stick to get that puck in that goal. That's how you want to be with your brush, to get the acrylic where you want it to be. So there's my zone 2 done. Now we're going to go to the eponychium, the cuticle area. Now in this zone, you need to pretend that you are at the skin. You don't want to put the acrylic there. You want to leave a tiny gap, because if you don't, that's where your lifting will be. Okay, so I'm picking up another bead. I like that bead, and I'm going to go ahead and place it close, but not all the way. Close, but not all the way. See how I'm leaving a gap up there? And then I'm just going to go ahead and lightly press and flatten it up there a little bit. Up to that area a little bit. Now let me just take a minute and talk about this cuticle ball. I've seen a lot of, people make their cuticle ball humongous. Huge. And it has a hump, and I just don't understand, because, well, let me just say, everybody has their technique. But to me, you should be making that cuticle ball. See how that's flush? Thinned down. So that when you have to do a fill, when the client comes back to you, you don't have to spend a lot of time drilling or filing down that cuticle ball. I'm sorry I got out of frame. See how it's thinned out down there? That will make it easier. That will make it easier when they come back for a fill. To just go ahead and file that down and then apply the new acrylic in that area. Okay, you don't need to even work the acrylic a lot, you guys, when you're doing this 3-ball method or any acrylic method. If you have your product ratio right, you can just quickly place, pat, and put the acrylic in place. Now when you're done with your nail, you look at it from all sides. See, is there any areas that are flat that you think need to have more acrylic? And then just go ahead and just place it there. I can't stress how important it is to know your product ratio, guys. To get the kind of bead that you want when you want it. That's product ratio. That's knowing that product ratio. And there's my nail. And as long as the acrylic is wet, you know, you can go ahead and keep pressing and shaping it the way you want to. You are applying the acrylic. Do not dab like this, like you're painting. You want to make full strokes. Light, full, feathery strokes. Okay? Because if you dab, you're basically going to be causing uneven spots in your acrylic when the goal is to make it a smooth, uniform nail. Let's see how we do it on a real nail. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and do it. Zone 1. Swiping. Pressing. Letting it sit a little bit. And then I'm going swiping, pressing, swiping and pressing. And I'm using, see how I'm using the belly of my brush to taper that top of that ball down? See what I mean about uneven? That's not evenly across the nail. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit and just make it even across the nail. Here we go. That's my first ball. Zone 1. And I might put a little bit at the tip. See? We say 3 balls, but 3 ball is just a starting point, especially when you're a beginner. You get as many balls as you need on that nail to shape it the way you need to. And then as you get more experience, it will be 3. It will, you know, be close to 3. But in the beginning, it might not be. Okay, so I'm making a slightly bigger ball. I have bigger nail bed. So I'm going bigger. Putting my second ball down. And see how easy it blends with the first ball because there's no hump. See that hump? That's what I mean. That's that hump. So you want to go ahead and just take, see how I'm just using the brush hairs, the tip of the brush hairs, and just feathering it, blending it, feathering it. Blending it by lightly feather stroking it. I'm dipping back into my liquid, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it that way. Taking the side of my brush, thinning it out. I see a little area right now that needs to be filled in, so I'm doing it. I'm going ahead and doing it on that side. So there's my second ball. And here's my third ball. See how I'm getting close to the cuticle area, but not all the way. See? And now I'm just feathering it, feathering it, feathering it, feathering it down. Feather, feather, feather. Pressing lightly to thin that cuticle ball down. Now, some people might say that's not close enough, you know, and I agree. So I'm going to go ahead and make another small, tiny ball. Look how small that tiny ball is. Look how tiny that ball is. Actually, let me make a better one. Look how tiny that is. No, that's just like a fleck. And I'm going to go ahead and just go a little bit closer because they should not look like they need a fill. Your clients should not look like they need a fill as soon as they come from you. So there we go. And I'm just feathering it down in place and cleaning up on the side. So that's my acrylic nail. I'm shaping it. You don't need to overwork the acrylic again, guys. And that's it. Let me see if I can show from that angle. Yep. There we go. I worked a little bit wetter because I normally wouldn't have all this acrylic on my skin. You don't want to have all that acrylic all over your client. Might give them a reaction, but it's me. So that's the 3-ball method. You guys, you're going to need to practice, of course. Practice makes perfect in everything that we do. And one thing I will say is that you can do, you're practicing on your finger or if you have your nail trainer hand. I prefer, you know, these sticks because you can practice different sizes, different size nails rather than just practicing on the one, because your client nail sizes will be different sizes. I have big nail beds. I've had clients that have bigger nail beds than me. So you want to have that practice. Don't throw away anything, guys. Do not throw away any of your practice nails. What you want to do is learn from them. You know, and try to get better with each nail that you do. I was told it takes 600 sets of nails before you get comfortable with laying acrylic. To me, it felt like 6,000 or more. You'll get bored. You'll get tired of doing this, but one day it all will click. You know, but don't get discouraged. Okay. So, I think that's all I wanted to say, guys, on this video. Hope it was helpful. If it was, be sure to like it. If you have any comments or problems with your acrylic application, leave it in the comments. I might do a video on it because this is our channel, guys. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and become a part of our family that we're growing here. All right, y'all. Until next time, take care, and I really do mean that. Have a good one.